Okay, welcome everyone. We're monitoring Hurricane Francine moving in on the Louisiana coastline. The 5 p.m. advisory indicates we now have a Category 2 hurricane, 100-mile-per-hour winds, as you can see in the scroller. I'm Jim Williams. This is the Hurricane Warning Show, and as soon as the HurTrack program gets the latest data and the graphics, we'll show you that. But here is the current radar of our system moving in right now, and this is courtesy of WeatherTap. Moving in towards Homa and Morgan City. Hurricane hunters have found a slightly stronger system, and if you look at the eye, it is nice and round. You usually see more of a bat look, and let me explain what I'm talking about with a bat look. You often will see like a bat wing like this, and the dry air. That inside that yellow circle is usually dry air intrusion, which is dry air that comes in from the south in these systems in the northern Gulf, and it kind of chokes the system off and develops and prevents it from intensifying as it moves onshore. And this is what's happening right now. There's dry air being pulled into the southern quadrant of this. Now, back in 2021, I was in Hurricane Ida, and I was in this area in Homa, right up in here. The Hurricane Ida was coming up like this, and it ended up more hitting western Homa and areas east. But my remote camera was in Homa, and I was over here in Morgan City thinking it was going to stair step over that way, and it never really happened. Of course, that was a 130-mile-per-hour hurricane. This one is 100 miles per hour. It's a little bit of a different animal in this position. This is basically where we're at right now with Hurricane Francine. And you can see Morgan City. I think this graphic is a little bit to the left of where this actually is. I think it should be sliding a little bit more to the east here. But Morgan City is definitely going to get part of the eye on this, and then Homa is definitely going to get the eye. And all these coastal areas are getting some storm surge. I've heard reports of some storm surge moving in. I'm going to be here for a couple of hours as the core of this moves onshore. I have a bunch of weather observations from the coast, a few webcams. Mike from Mike's Weather has given us permission to show some of his live video footage, and I'm monitoring that, so I'll share some of that with you as well. And I have a radio station queued up from Baton Rouge, and we'll listen to some of their coverage. Winds 61 knots. Wow, that's almost 70 miles per hour. 70-mile-per-hour winds, and they are, let's see, winds are out of the north-northeast at 61 knots. Wow. Let's see, humidity. Air pressure 978 millibars, 978 millibars. And there's the map of where that is. Just southwest of Morgan City, Louisiana. They're getting winds of 70 miles per hour right now. This looks like an eye popping on the satellite, so let's take a close look at this. But notice the convection is severely weakening at this hour. There's only one deep, dark blob of red convection. That's moving right into Morgan City. And there's no eye. There's no visible eye on the enhanced satellite. All right. And this is all real-time data that's gathered at Hurricane City, showing the Hurricane Hunter fixes. Eye open to the southwest, and it's 50 nautical mile wide eye. So it's a pretty decent size eye, as you can see on the radar. It is 50 nautical mile wide eye. Okay, right at the coast, we have northeast winds at 65 knots, gusting to 77. So we have gusts around almost 90 miles per hour here, moving onshore. These are from the buoys right offshore. So we're talking 5 to 10 feet. This is from the National Hurricane Center. 5 to 10 foot water moving into this area.
So everybody, I'm trying to find a good internet signal so we can stream this.
Again, Mike has given me permission to use his live stream on my Hurricane Warning Show, if anybody's wondering.
in the last couple of hours, the eye wall's really coming together here. I'm in Morgan City, right across from the bridge over here. So yeah, this thing is. I'm in Morgan City, and listen, Homa getting a really rough band, getting really close to you right now. Everything's still on tap. You know, I don't know why we haven't had any hurricane hunter data in the last several hours. But if we lose internet, I'm going to swap over to my other one. So just have to bear with me. But we are going to watch this thing come in here.
But it is, you can see the water streaming in. Look at that vehicle is underwater. And notice the houses, the water is streaming underneath the houses. So we definitely have water, storm surge moving in. Not real high, but several feet. The wind racing across that water there. Watch. You can see it. Watch the white caps, the bottom of your screen. There's water. The wind is just, you can see it comes in bursts. And you can see the white caps on top of the water. But these buildings are all getting infiltrated by water. Look at that. It's got at least a couple of feet of water there. You don't get as good of a picture here of the flooding because, although you can see some buildings out here in the, yeah, I mean, look at that. There's water underneath all these structures. This is live. Okay, wow, that's interesting. I'm not sure. Look, there's a barrier, a wall there, and the waves are smashing up against the wall. Yeah, you can definitely see the surges coming in there. It's inside the facility. You can see the wind is definitely picking up. Again, that water level's rising because it looks like it's a little higher than the last time we looked at it. It's got to be at least a few feet there. This is from that research facility that I was just showing you. Water depth is 8.9 feet deep. That's amazing. If that's true, that's almost this. Because remember, the Hurricane Center did estimate 10-foot storm surge, and they're at 8.94. The winds are definitely out of the east at around 50. We've had some gusts. Let's see if it's, no, it doesn't allow you to mouse over. But you can see it's up to 70 knots right at the end of the chart there. So they're definitely getting 80-mile-per-hour winds.
Very well structured. I'll tell you one thing all the big dogs on the X are talking about is how well this thing has come together in the last couple hours. Might not look like it, but the structure of it definitely has.
Nice close-up view. The look at the eye presentation is beginning to crumble a little bit, and we're starting to get the bat look.
Say this, if we can be of any help to you, 499-WJBO, 499-9526. If you'd like to join us, have anything to report or share with us. I do believe we are going to be speaking with Jason R., with the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office, about that.
Wow, look at that wind racing across the water there. It's a Lumpkin Research Facility on the south coast of southeast of Morgan City, Louisiana. And notice the vehicle is buried in the water there. Why would they leave? I don't really understand why people leave vehicles in low-lying areas when a hurricane is coming. I'll never be able to figure that one out. But notice the wind just racing across. You can see the white puffs of water just. That's amazing.
Oh, man. Oh, wait, no, it's back there. It says online device. Try reading it.
Listen to Mike having his technical problems. It's never easy being a storm chaser, folks. Let me tell you. Everybody thinks it's just get in your car and go, put a camera on the dashboard. It's complicated. You got data issues, you got equipment, different camera angles you got to keep track of. You got to make sure everything's streaming live.
There's no internet here, maybe.
It's he's live. He just doesn't know he's live. But this camera shot's amazing, though. Watch that. It's just the wind gust.
Right, so, hey, we're just, this thing is slowly making its way to the coast here of Louisiana. Some of the bigger bands are slowly catching up to me here.
I'm going to see if Mike can get out and show us the eye. It's close. I mean, it looks like it's going to be so close. He might have to drive a little bit. He might have to move to get the eye of this.
Oh, no, I gotta get up.
Again, you're watching a live shot of the Lumpkin Research Facility southeast of Morgan City, Louisiana, right on the Gulf of Mexico. You can see the water coming in. Look at those gusts of wind. Wow. And you look at the radar, and that's where you see that over here on the right-hand side. Let me highlight this. There's the black. It's right in here is where that research facility camera is.
Hey, that's a big wind.
So, again, there's where the camera is located, under those deep reds, and this is what you're getting. Watch the gust across the water. Wow. And that's thunder here in Delray. I'm live in Delray Beach, Florida. I'm not there where the hurricane is, but just doing the hurricane warning show for archive purposes. This is a live camera shot from Lumpkin Research Facility, right in that black circle that I have on the radar, and that red band is right over it, so they're getting nailed right now. Notice all the houses, and it's almost white out. Like before, when I showed this camera shot, you could zoom in on those homes and see the water underneath them. Now it's kind of so clouded; the visibility is deteriorated significantly. But notice the building here; the water is definitely getting higher. Now it's about halfway up that garage door. Oh, I have the wrong image up. About 35 from where Mike is sitting to where these cameras are. You're talking about 35 miles to the southeast. So he's not getting those kinds of conditions. And again, you notice the reds and the dark reds are down in that area. This is obviously facing south towards the Gulf of Mexico. So, wow, look at that. The water is just beating up against the wall. You can see white caps out beyond the building. Camera is facing south, so it's north of the building, and it's facing the Gulf of Mexico, so you can see the water has all come in. It's completely underwater. But the building is elevated. Notice if I zoom in on it here, notice this. It's got stilts, concrete stilts under it, so the buildings are not, they're designed to take this kind of thing. I mean, look at the inside walkways. I mean, they're elevated. Look at the pole bouncing around. I mean, that pole is taking a beating. Unless that's a boat or something. That could be a boat behind there. Not sure what that is. Wow. Wind is really kicking now. Gulf of Mexico. Amazing footage. But as far as live camera shots, you're not going to get any better than this in a hurricane. I mean, this is outstanding that they've been able to maintain these camera shots from this research facility. Louisiana University, this is LSU Marine Consortium Lumpkin facility. Amazing. Incredible. Because you can see the wind just racing across the water. That's incredible. So that's got to be facing south as well. because that wind is still coming out of the south. Wow. And again, that vehicle is just about buried completely. The water is halfway up the building now. Now, when the eye comes ashore, this will clear out. We'll be able to see the extent of the flooding very clearly. I'll be able to zoom this camera in and show you a lot of the houses and how much water is filled in on those houses. How much the elevation of those houses, the stilts are above the water line. It'll be interesting to see that.
And I-12 all the way out there and back, it's pretty dead. So everybody is heeding the warning to stay in place.
Good. I want to talk to our colleague, Jeremy. Jeremy, are you there?
I better be.
Hi.
If not, where else?
Jeremy, Francine, I always say, I love Murphy and Sam like family. But Jeremy is my calm in the storm, literally. So you've been watching Francine all day, and you kind of like to dig in and get in. What are you seeing right now, and what do you think that we are bracing for the next couple of hours?
Well, I was surprised a little bit to see the jump to Category 2 at the 4 o'clock advisory. And speaking of, I need to refresh my screen here. We could have a 5 o'clock position here and see if it's it's forward speed, because it's been moving. It's picked up a lot of forward speed over as the days has gone on. So let's see what we got here. It is now moving. Still northeast at 17 miles per hour. Max sustained winds at 100 miles per hour. Anyway, right before that 4 p.m. advisory on the radar, there was, through most of the day, the presentation of the storm didn't change much. It has a very, I was watching one meteorologist talk about, we can call it an eye, but the center of the storm was very huge compared to like a nice compact eye, which is one of the reasons why, it was a sign that it was fighting the shear that was forecast, and there might be some dry air trying to get in, some of that center was exposed. But like right before the 4 o'clock, you saw a big burst of, cloud tops. And that in that area was where they measured and found, if I'm reading it correctly, it's where they measured and found those winds. Okay. So that's why it's a Cat 2. It might stay at that. It's one of the things where I wonder if they'll just keep it there until they officially say it's made landfall.
Right.
Some of it has moved onshore based on the radar. I don't know the exact. This is when we say it's officially made landfall, when this amount has come in, or maybe they still have the quote-unquote center of the storm offshore where it's the lowest pressure.
Yeah, the rotation of it still looks like really part of the eye's offshore still.
Yes. So, and as for what we're going to see, if you look at the radar now, there's just a bunch of rain in the southeast Louisiana. We're going to have that start to come up. The question is going to be, from now until this stuff makes it up to our area, how much is the storm weaken? It's going to go from that Cat 2, as Sam said earlier. It's going to be a tropical storm by, 2 a.m. this morning or tomorrow morning, I think. I have to go back and look at this.
Middle of the night.
Yes, but by that point, too, it's also past.
You are watching the live Lumpkin research camera right on the coast, and I will show you exactly where that is. So inside that black circle is where that facility is located, and you can still see the intense bands are over that area. And as you can see on the camera, look at the wind just whipping across. Amazing, incredible. Here's the current weather observations. 64 mile per hour winds out of the southeast. 64 mile per hour winds out of the southeast. That makes sense. Yeah, look at the water depth chart, the blue. You can see it goes up and down with the tide cycles, and then all of a sudden, bam, here we are with the hurricane making landfall, and we have almost 10 feet of water, a 10-foot tide coming in there. He's still in Morgan City, Louisiana, waiting for the eye to come in. He's somewhere within that black circle. And again, I doubt those winds are 100 miles per hour onshore right now. I mean, there's no way. Even at the Lumpkin Research Facility, they're measuring 65, 70. But again, that's what 65, 70 does when you're right on the coast. It can be very dramatic and bring in a lot of water, and that's what's happening there. Again, look at how high the water is now. It's about halfway up the building. I think this is about as high as it's going to get based on what I'm seeing with the radar presentation here, and the system is beginning to weaken now. So I think it's probably reached its max surge, or yeah, we're at low tide right now. Legend storm surge warning is the purple area, and storm surge watch is the light. Morgan City is under a storm surge watch. Yeah, there's no major flooding going on. As you can see with the graphic, nothing is in the minor, moderate, or major flooding stage right now. So that's good news. This is Amarada Pass, which if you look at the map, that's just south of Morgan City. So if it's not flooding down there, then it's definitely not going to flood in Morgan City, in my opinion, from surge flooding. Yeah, this chart is about as close to that facility that I've been showing you with the live cam shot, where there's minor flooding, but 2 to 4 feet. I don't know. I'm still thinking, but that's southeast of where the Lumpkin facility is. The Lumpkin facility is over in here somewhere, so there's no observations there. This is right near where that facility is. So it's at 5.61 feet. And then when you look at the cam shot, it pretty much matches. All right, so Mike's feed is lost. I don't see anything streaming live at the moment, so yeah, he was live, but he was having problems with the live stream. So let's go back to our cameras. Wow, it's just amazing. Every time I look at that camera, I'm amazed at that wind whipping across there like that. But I'm waiting to see the eye. I want to see this eye get in there.
Parish Sheriff Jason Ard. It's Murphy, Sam, and Jody on the iHeartRadio family of radio stations. Our continuing coverage of Hurricane Francine is live right now here on 96.1 The River, 102.5 WFMF, 101.5 WYNK, Downtown Radio 97.7, and WJBO News Radio 1150 AM and 98.7 FM. We'll have more right after the break.
New Orleans is right there. And if you watch the track of this, I mean, this area here might get some of that eye wall, whatever's left of it. Notice it was 981 down here at the bottom, and it was 981. Now it's gotten up to down to 977, then 974, and then 972 right before landfall. Drop zone was at the center, and it measured 7 knots, 8-mile-per-hour winds. That's pretty good. If they can get that drop zone in the center and only get 7-mile-per-hour winds, that's pretty amazing. It's an elliptical oval-shaped eye, open to the south, and the eye is 50 nautical miles wide. The SFMR, which are surface winds, based on the instruments on the aircraft, are measuring 83-mile-per-hour winds. And by the way, those SFMR winds are based on a 10-second period of wind. Again, Jim Williams here with you. I'm monitoring the cameras from the southern coast of Louisiana. The storm surge has moved in around 4 feet.
After the worst of this blows through and gets out of here, what do you've been doing this a long time, what will you be doing? What is your,
well, we're going to be looking at the areas that people have called in.
Sure.
And called in to 311, and I will also emphasize, if you got problems, you got things that exist, you need to call 311, and we get those lists there pretty quickly.
Okay, notice the winds have increased now at that facility up to 70 miles per hour, and the water depth is 10.28 feet. Again, that's the tide gauges, but that doesn't mean that that's 10 feet of water coming in there. It's probably more like 5. Camera looks like it's frozen. No, that one's still live. And the eye is still kind of straddling the coast, but we're not seeing it on that camera shot. So there was never a healthy looking eye on the satellite on this, by the way. So there it came in, and there was a brief eye there, and then it tried to make a comeback, but it just never really was a clear eye. It just never really wrapped like a, solid visible eye on a visible satellite. It just never really popped. Again, this is Weather Nerds. All right, there's our water vapor.
LSU just issued something for tomorrow. They're under a shelter in place until 1 o'clock tomorrow. So the campus is going to stay closed tomorrow, and tomorrow remote classes are canceled too.
Okay, so the official landfall from the National Hurricane Center was at 5 p.m. It made landfall in southern Louisiana in the parish of Terrebonne, about 30 miles southwest of Morgan City. As a Category 2 hurricane, the maximum sustained winds were estimated to be 100 miles per hour. The NOS station located on Eugene Island reported a peak gust of 105 miles per hour, and minimum pressure measured at that location was 976 millibar. And I think this one's frozen as well. These cameras might be down. Timestamp 5:50. Yeah, these cameras are down for the count. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up. This was just for archive reasons, for archive purposes, for the database. I'll edit this down, and it'll be on the video archive page as well of the landfall of Hurricane Francine, 100 mile per hour winds at 5 p.m. Near Morgan City. We don't know if the eye passed over. Mike might have some videos on his Facebook page, later on, but he's not live right now, so we don't really know. And there's no cameras from the area. The Lumpkin cams are down. So that's it for me. I did the best I could, but it's official. We have a landfall, and that's it. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm Jim Williams. Thank you all for watching.